Hi, it's Claire, your intuitive reader. Today, I'm going to try things a little different. No matter how I moved things, this light through the blinds is coming in, so I got to deal with that. It's just there. Um, so if you haven't been here before, welcome, hi. And if you're coming back, thanks for being here. It's really great to see you. I really got pulled to come in and do a reading. I was not going to do a reading today because I was going to get in my costume and do one, but I just felt like everything was telling me to get up here and do one. And that light is driving me crazy. I'm just going to move out of the way a little bit. So, yeah, it's an interesting day. What I'm getting a lot of downloads about is not taking anything you've been doing for this long period of time in the Capricorn season of, I think it was like 16 years, for granted. Like, maybe your diet was working for you for a very long time and now it's not. Sorry, I'm trying to make this light not be on my face. And it's actually like the wrong thing for you now because you've gotten healthier, or you need a different mineral or vitamin in your diet that you're not getting because you've been on this one diet for a while. It could be about medications that you've been on for a long time for conditions. And I'm getting this strongly because it's happening in my own life, and I'm seeing very clearly, like, I don't think of myself as a very routine-based person. I just, I always said it was ADD, but it could just be who I am. And so when I get into a routine for too long, I start noticing that, I stiffen up. I'm doing things the exact same way. I'm moving the same muscles. I'm starting to develop limitations that I didn't have before. And this seems to be based on getting stuck in a routine. Like, this is who I am. And maybe you're feeling like that. Like, maybe that's why I got on here and I was like, okay, I normally do this, that, and the other to record. Like, I do all this meditation, but, I got the communication card here, 9. Like, I'm realizing that maybe I'm being a little too strict about when I communicate or how I communicate, and this is a sign of growth, number 23. So, like, maybe you're having a growth in your communication with yourself. Like, you're starting to see, why am I doing this exactly? Do I even remember why I started this routine or this medication? I'm not telling you to stop taking your medication. What I am asking you to do is, in every area of your life, your physical 3D life, because we're closing out this Capricorn season in Pluto, and we're moving into Aquarius. So this is like, going into that fool's journey, the star kind of mentality of thinking and then manifesting. If we're holding on to things just because we just got used to doing them, like, why do you always get that cup of coffee? Why not tea or a chai or whatever? Oh my gosh. And then I got, this is the Disney villains deck, and I got the Fool. So I just think that's hilarious. We were just talking about the Fool, like jumping off into in finishing up these very earth cycles. So let's see. That's great. Yeah. So I think, as I'm looking at this card, it's communication. There's rain in the back, and then there's a cup. So this is like the 9 of Cups. This is talking about, gaining accomplishment. And so you've grown. You've kind of outgrown your constraints, the way you do things. And you need to kind of look at your life like it was fresh. Like, if you didn't know all the things you know about yourself, if you didn't go, I have a mental illness, or I'm depressed, or I have anxiety, or I have a disease, or I have social anxiety, or I am sick, all these things, like I had a heart attack, I had a stroke, but that's probably limiting who you are, because you've now gotten to a routine that you don't have the same abilities that you used to. So you don't. That doesn't mean that you've lost everything. It just means you're going on a new trip. When things change about your physicality, your life, then it's kind of like a ghost coming up. But this is a friendly ghost. It's to remind you that you don't know yourself, and you might just be doing things just because they served a purpose at one point. They may have kept you alive. In my case, yeah, I had to take a lot. I was taking 54 medications, and that did not, I wasn't taking any painkillers. So 54 medications just to keep my alive every day, like all day long. I took them 6 times a day. So, and that was just the basics. That just kept me going from day to day. And so my point with that is not like, oh man, poor me. It's like, wow, like I did that. Like I needed all those medications. I needed those aids. I needed all the different therapists and rehab, nurses to help me get back to where I am today. But I noticed myself, I was stuck. I was like, oh, I've got to limit my exertion, my energy output, because, I'll end up back where I was. I can never go back to where I was. I have done too much work. I know my body better now. But I was holding on to doing certain things that was limiting me. I was like, I need these medications. I can go off all the other ones, but I need these ones. And I wasn't examining that they maybe didn't serve the cost harm benefit anymore, because I was not, in the state I was. So my life has changed a lot, and maybe yours has too. I'm getting that. I mean, like, we're all going through astrologically, and with the movements of the planets and the alignments and the sun. I mean, it's just a time where we have to acknowledge that we are of this earth, and that we are affected by everything that goes on. Just like if we were all in a cell, and we as human beings serve the point of a certain part of the cell, and the earth was, the outer layer of the cell, all the layers of the cell. I do not remember all of them right now, because I learned that in freshman year of high school. So that was quite a while ago. But my point with that is we all serve a purpose. And if we're working together and realizing that we are connected, that we work better, together. But sometimes we take things or continue to do things, habits, limitations on ourselves that no longer actually resonate with the situation we're in. I was quiet for many years. I didn't come on social media. I had actually gotten quite a social media presence about my physical issues, the battles I was going through with getting mold poisoning and my other just genetic issues that were triggered by that mold. And what I experienced, through adversity, through the people that decided, as I spoke out against what was happening to me, that I needed to be silenced. And so I went offline for over 2 years. And I think they thought they had won. What I was doing, and I think that's what this collective does, is hermit. And then we come out, and we've grown in like this 2 and 3. That's a 5, which is growth, which is change. And my communication, my 9 of Cups, I had actually grown. So it looked like I came out of nowhere to some people, like, okay, you seem comfortable around, in front of the camera, this seems to come easy to you. And what it is it's been decades. I started years ago on MySpace. I always felt the need to reach out to others and tell them my truth, the hard things that I've been through, the embarrassing things, the things that people don't want to talk about but are going on with so many people. because I wanted to help people. The most important thing to me wasn't my reputation or if people liked me. It was that one less person felt like they were an oddball, that they didn't have what it takes. Yes, so like I had to go through the death card. And I love this coming up after the Fool. This is like very, very, it took a long time for it to come out. And I think that was the point. The death of that attachment to the fact that you, like me, want to be there for other people, want to show that there is a better way to communicate, to share, and that there was a different way to grow. Like this growth is an emotional and a spiritual one. Your body has started to recover. Your ideas about who you were had to die so that you could go on the Fool's journey. There was no option. Like here, here's the devil and the angel here, temperance and the devil. And this is showing like your ideas about what made up evil versus angelic had to die. Like I read your comments. You guys have been through a great deal. I can feel it in your energy. A lot of you have had to go through literal deaths of who you were. It had to end. And then you're rebuilding yourself and you're looking at yourself from a perspective of, oh my gosh, come on. And then we get the Magician. And, I shuffled these cards. You've been doing it. It's been taking a long time to come out. And I just, these cards are emotional for me because I can feel this process for you guys. Like the death, the end of your expectations of who you were, of the perfect way it had to be. This has to go this way to be happy. I have to have this kind of partner. I have to have this kind of home. I have to look this way. I have to sound this way. I have to say these things. These people have to like me. I have to follow this health protocol. All these expectations, you put an end to them. It was draining the life out of you. You're this carefree, and whatever the saying is. There isn't any perfect here. I'm coming on here because I was hoping a few people would get something out of this, but I also want you to know that I didn't get like this from being just like this. I got like this because I let a lot of expectations and ideas of perfect go. I did the hard work. I know you guys can do it too. It is hard. It's hard to see, like, why am I doing this? Why am I working so hard to go through this journey over and over and then just like kill it off? Because when you do that, you're able to alchemize as the Magician. Like we got the Fool, which is 0, the Magician, which is 1, and then followed by Death, 13. Like that is a very, very strong spread, and you only got 3 tarot cards. So you got 3 major steps in your journey. Like if it's worth the pain of death, and death is painful. Like I'm not gonna, I've been there. I do know now what it's like to starve. Like no matter what, I have a condition and it's called silent starvation. It's called gastroparesis, but nobody knows what that is. And the people who have it starve. They cannot pull nutrients from their food. And you have to then change your idea of what life means when you have a condition like that. Because food, even drinking, when at certain points I could not keep liquids down, changes your way of manifesting, of finding the joy of how do you interact with other people in the world. And maybe you have something different. Maybe you have, a speech impediment, or maybe you just have social anxiety, not just, but maybe you have something that causes you that same debilitating inability to interact and take part in normal social dances. And this is telling you, put an end to that thinking. There are ways, like, no matter what kind of position you are in, no matter how different you are, no matter how that is feeling, that if you stay in this fool's energy, that you are feeling like you are good enough. Like, no matter if you can't, get out of your bed and you are just, online. I've known people, I've had dear friends who had to use trackers, because they couldn't move. They were paralyzed. And they literally were some of the most amazing people I've ever known. They gave back so much because of their presence in the world. And I really want you to think about that. What makes us special? What makes us magical? What makes us unique is not these ideals that we hold on to. That's the death of creativity. That's the death of independence. That's the death of your special little kernel in this world. So I really, like I said, this reading's a little different because I was just really pulled to say, I'm not all sunshine and lollipops. I'm that way because I hermited. Oh my gosh, you guys have gotten 4 major arcana and nothing else. Like, this is going on right now. This is like a very important thing. Like, you've done the hermiting. And in doing that, you've put an end, a completion, a finality to all this toxic poison that was churning around in your body. Like, think about where you were 5 years ago. And think about, or when you got a diagnosis, or when you went through a major life change, like a divorce or a separation from someone that you really liked, an ending with a child, a friend, like a pet dying. These are major events. And if you didn't honor the ending of them, you could still be stuck in hermit mode. And the world is asking you to step out and create. Like, look at this. If you get stuck in hermit mode, it is a death to an ending to your creativity. But if you remember to keep this like childlike happiness, no matter what's going on, like literally, no matter what. The only reason I'm sharing my story with you on here is because I think it's important for you to understand this is not an easy decision. This is a choice to put an end to this way of thinking, to put an end to how bad you feel about not being the same person you expected yourself to be. Thank God. Like, really, if people didn't change and evolve, we would never have any magicians. We would never have any magic in this world. We wouldn't have that happiness and that wonderful. When was the last time you really heard a song by a major person that made your heart just sing, that it was like, oh my gosh, I feel something I have never felt. It evokes a feeling that you knew was there, but that song just brings it forward. The music today just doesn't, I'm not saying there aren't artists out there, but the commercialization of that, the commercialization of this, what I'm doing right now, is kind of killing the creativity. It's killing the magic of it. Like, everybody thinks that everybody who comes on here is trying to make money and trying to create a job. And like, if I make money doing this, great. That's awesome. I'll be doing something I love, but I'm actually here because I was called to do this. Like, I really never thought I was going to do this tarot thing. I was just kind of like, and I just saw 1919 on the timer. So it's like, I never thought I was going to do this. Look, I had my own judgments. I'm going to be real honest. I was like, because I had seen a lot of, oh, there's somebody with an A, there's somebody with a B, there's somebody this and that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Or I'm talking to the most famous person out there and I'm like, oh, really? Another person, saying that they're talking to a famous person when, it would be amazing if you just talked to anybody that was dead? I mean, that's pretty amazing, right? Or anybody who's a spirit. Do we need like some special spirit? Why can't we talk to the plumber? Maybe he has better knowledge than, you know, than the famous person. And not everybody's attached to Mary Magdalene and anyway. So my point is that there's a lot to learn from the people around you, and people have a lot to learn from you. And just like that with spirituality, even the most famous that are listed in all these holy books and stuff were just people at the time. And then later on, they were turned into the prophets, the martyrs, the saints, the gods. At the time, they were just seen as part of the world, as part of everyday life. They were above it in the way that we perceived them. But it was not until we had perspective that we could see how very special they were. So don't doubt yourself, because I can guarantee you that most spirits I talk to, most spirits I communicate with, are not trying to give us grand ideas. They're not trying to prophesize and tell us and sermonize and tell us what we should be doing. They're saying, you know what you should be doing, as you did when you were a little child. Don't tell me little children don't know what they should and shouldn't be doing. So adults certainly do. And I don't mean to be lecturesome here, but I feel sometimes it's necessary. To me, this isn't a joke. This isn't a game. This isn't about, some fad like do tarot. I'm a fortune teller. I've never considered myself that. I think it's kind of limiting. What I do think of myself is a realist and a scientist. And if I see something, if I hear something, and I've gotten checked out by every kind of doctor under the sun, I do not have anything wrong with me. So maybe there's something to it. Doubting yourself when all the evidence points that you are actually experiencing something is the folly. Oh, sorry about that. So I'm just a real person, and this is but I'm talking to other people that feel this way. The Seven of Wands. Okay. Yeah, you're feeling defensive, because if you really take your crown, if you really, really follow this path, if you really go forward, you're going to be seen as crazy. You're going to be seen as a false prophet, a wannabe, a charlatan. But you know what? All those books you read about those people, they were seen as that at the time. Why are you doing this? Are you doing this for fame and notoriety? Or are you doing this because you think that it's your path in life? And if you really take it up, you're going to have to look in the mirror and decide if you really truly are still the fairest of them all. Like, I love my fairy tales. I love them, and I know them quite well. And you have to see it from that perspective. What's going on right this minute is only the surface. It's all about our perception. It's all about how we see ourselves. Are we defensive? The fact that we feel something, that we sense something, that we perceive a different, a vast reality when others are limited and don't want to see because it scares them. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to be defensive. You just have to know that if you follow your path, you will manifest. That's how manifestation works. It's about feeling it 100%. There's no, the universe knows if you're like on the fence, if you're like, I don't really want this. I think even with this channel, I've felt that way, like, oh my gosh, this is so scary. But here we got Temperance and the World to end with. Like, this is balanced energy, creating the world you want. You're no fool. You're just sure of who you are. You walk with surety. You know that when you close your eyes, just like in Star Wars, you can detect the Force, because you've accepted that it's real. that this is a real thing, this force. It's not something that's in your head. It's not something that you're trying to make into a career. It's something that will support you because you are on your correct path. And it will create the world you want. Now that's up to you, because to me, this is like temperance and the devil. What kind of world do you want? Like, whatever you put your mind to, whatever you put your intention to, because this is about intention. You can meditate all you want, but if your intentions are not on what you truly feel and believe, you will not create that. But if your intentions and your feelings are like that the world is this toxic place, that's what will manifest. This is no magic. Like if you look at a battery, it has a positive and a negative polarity. Those are not, one's not bad and one's not good. They're just two different anyway, you know what I mean. So, think of it that way. Like, which polarity are you going to? We need both, but we need them with temperance. So, I mean, I really loved your spread. You got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major arcana. Six. Whoa, I didn't mean to. Yeah, some people think that's a bad number, but it's actually not. It's manifestation. I think that's why they villainize that number, because if you use that number, the 3 6s, it's actually huge manifestation. So, take back these crazy ideas. I'm sorry, but I think they are. I just like, if somebody has to sit in this authority over the church, over our religions, over our spirituality, then they're just trying to protect themselves. They want to be a king or queen. They don't want to actually have everybody on this path. So I think you do. And I think you have to decide whether you're ready to put your old ideas to bed. Put them to bed. Step out. And create. Step out and create. I love that. I love these 2 cards that came out. And then you have this great new world. This is great. So anyway, that was way too long of a pause. I think I'm tired. So if you enjoyed this story, it was unusual as it wasn't like my normal stories, but I actually had a really good time kind of just conversating with you guys. I think I'm going to try that a little more. It's a little more my style instead of like a formula of how I do this all the time. But still, we got to work with YouTube. So like, subscribe, comment, share, turn on the notification. I do lives, I do stories, I do weird rants. I do health talks. I do all sorts of things because just like you, I am a very diverse person based on learning from the things that have happened to me. So I'd love to share this journey with you. And like I said, if you enjoyed it, help me grow on this channel and help me connect with other people through our communication. So anyway, I love you guys. Mwah. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.